So this morning, Nintendo just dropped a trailer on Twitter for the new Switch model. Now, everybody thought it was going to be like some Switch Pro with like PS4 specs as on a handheld, but we watched the trailer. It's a good trailer and all, but it all boils down to just like an upgraded Switch. It's not really the Pro most of us had in mind. I mean, let's talk about it, because this was something that a lot of people are disappointed about, but some people are also happy about. So, going on their website here, they call it the OLED model, and it's based on a like white color. So they have like a new dock. The Joy-Cons are white, and it's going to retail for $350. So in the trailer, they just showed like modest upgrades. Like here, it has a 7-inch OLED display, which is better than the 6.2 LCD display. I'm pretty sure it's LCD. 6.2 LCD display on the original Switch. So it has like a slightly bigger screen, and the vibrant colors will pop out more. And then they also showed off a stand. Now, this stand is way better because the original kickstand they had on the original one was like really wimpy, and it was holding up the tablet. But this kickstand is better because it's longer, it looks more secure, and I don't think it's gonna knock down as easily, because every Switch I've seen, some people lose their kickstands, and I don't know how they lose their kickstands. But they got a new kickstand, and you can adjust the angle, so it'll make it easier to play in tabletop, which is pretty cool. And they also, for the dock, in the dock they have before, the previous dock did not have a LAN cable, so if you wanted to have the best connection online, you had to get like a LAN adapter and put it onto the dock, so you can have low latency or low latency. But now they have a built-in wired LAN port, so now you don't have to buy that dongle for an adapter for the LAN stuff, for those people who like playing Smash or something like that. And it looks like it has more storage. The base Switch had 32 gigs, which is kind of pathetic in today's day and age, because there's nothing that's 32 gigs. You can find one game that's like 32 gigs. And so the new Switch has 64 gigabytes. And that's pretty good, because honestly, we need more storage. If you see the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, they have like 1 terabyte storage, but that's understandable because those games have like to scale a lot of the really chunky games that have super like even a patch could be 50 gigabytes. So that's just to put it in perspective. But Switch games, they're not that chunky. 64 is good, but I mean, it's not like a Switch Pro, so it's not like a substantial upgrade. So 64 is good, but the next Switch, like the successor, has to have at least 128, because we don't have that's not adequate storage. So I appreciate the 64 gigs of storage. And they also talked about they upgraded the audio in the tablet. So the speakers are bigger, and so they've upgraded the speakers on the tablet. They made them bigger, and I assume they made them more crisp. The sound's more crisp, so it's like having maybe not surround sound, but just better audio overall. So on the handheld, so if you're playing on like the bus or something and you want to annoy the grandma next to you or something like that, you got nice high fidelity speakers. Or if you just playing on your bed or something, you got nice better audio speakers. Which, I mean, to me the Switch had good audio. I wasn't really complaining, but better audio is not bad, not a bad thing. And I think that's it. There's not really yeah, they're just showing some screenshots. There's nothing it's not. Oh wow, that's the nice packaging right there. Okay, I'm looking on the website, and the packaging is like a more like a cube or a rectangle going upwards, because if you've seen the original Switch packaging, it's more like a rectangle, and the rectangle is faced down horizontal. So it's the long side is going horizontal and the short side is going vertical. But here it looks, it's not really a rectangle. It looks like a square, a little longer of a square. So technically it is a rectangle, but the long sides are vertical and the short sides are horizontal. So I think it's the same size. It's not really it's the same size Switch overall. So the current Switch you may or may not have in your house is probably the same size as this new Switch OLED model. But the difference is they put it in like a different packaging. And that packaging looks pretty cool. Alright, so that's pretty good. So basically, just to sum everything up we've seen today, this Switch OLED model, I mean, that is not a good PR statement. I mean, not a good, because imagine going to someone and says, hey, do you have the Switch OLED model? You know, that doesn't really click off the tongue as Switch Pro. Switch Pro is more of a banger. They could have used it in a marketing scheme like, oh, hey, get the Switch Pro. I bet just because when you put Pro or like Deluxe or something like that on a packaging, it makes the product sound more extravagant or whatever. So they just called this OLED model, and frankly, while I think it's a dumb name, it's definitely better than Pro, because this is not a Pro by any means. It's just better quality of life upgrades Switch, which, let's be honest, most people did not want that, but that's what I expected, because, you know, they are not going to alienate the fan base of a console that's about to sell 100 million units. Do you see this? This thing is crashing records, destroyed the DS, and it's destroyed the Wii, and now it's coming for the PS2. So this thing could be the number one best-selling console in the world. So why would Nintendo make a Pro model and alienate the fan base? Because if they made like the new 3DS model, which, you know, it was like, it's kind of like the Switch OLED model, which is this quality of life improvements where they made the 3D better, they had the C stick, but see, that's what I'm gonna lead into. The new Nintendo 3DS was a significant upgrade compared to the regular 3DS. It had like, I think, a better quality, because I think the max on the 3DS is maybe 280p, 480p, something like that. But I think the new Nintendo 3DS stayed like true 480p, and that's not really good graphics, but true graphics is the best one, because the current Switch, like it's the max on the tablet is 720p, but it doesn't stay 720p. It can dip down to like 546 or something like that. So we want like solid resolution. It doesn't matter if it's 720p as long as it stays 720p. But it looks like this OLED model, it does not have any hardware specs, more as just quality of life. But overall, I think this OLED model, it's worth it, because imagine if they made a Pro. If they made a Pro model, what are they going to charge? $400? Because if they put in, because they had rumors of DLSS, NVIDIA's DLSS upscaling, which just upscales the graphics from 1080p to 4K, because everybody thought the Switch was going to have solid 1080p graphics, because it was a base, they in their minds they were thinking it was a base PS4, but they were going to use DLSS to upscale the resolution from 1080p to 4K to match it with the competition, because the current Switch has like the power of a PS3, and it's 2 generations behind the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. So if third-party developers ever wanted to like shift their games down, like the recent game that came out that I was looking at was Scarlet Nexus. Now that game looks like it can run on a PS4, and you could probably downscale that game to a PS4. But PS3, I don't know, man. I think they could, but they had to sacrifice some things. Just like when they port some games, they have to sacrifice graphical fidelity in order for better frame rate. Like with Doom, they had to cut down the resolution. With Witcher, they had to cut down the resolution. Like, it does not look good on the Switch. Even if it runs good, it does not look good. But overall, I'd just say that it makes sense, because if they put all of those new features in, imagine what the price would be. There'd be such a huge, stark difference. Like, if the original Switch is $300, and the rumored Switch Pro would have to be at least around the $400 range. And that's kind of absurd, because some people are like, I'm not paying $400 for this, while other people are like, yes. And Nintendo diehards are like, yes, I need this upgrade. So I think it's a fair price, because right now it's sitting at a $350 MSRP, which is pretty good, because you get quality of life improvements like the 7-inch screen, the LAN adapter, enhanced audio. So you get quality of life improvements for $50. I think that's a pretty good deal. But overall, I'd say that this wasn't the Switch Pro we wanted, but I know there's a lot of saltiness online, because many people were expecting a Pro. I know I was, because I was just waiting. I said 2 years ago, I'm just going to wait for the Switch Pro. When the Switch Pro comes out, we're going to get the Switch Pro. Just to preface, I already have a Switch, but for upgrade-wise, because they released they had the new Switch, but not the new Switch. I mean the Switch that had the HAC-01 model, which had the better battery life. So, and they were making a lot of special editions, like the Mario Special Edition, and where I was like, all right, we gotta wait for the new Switch, like the Switch Pro, and I waited a couple years for that, and now it's here, and I think this is gonna be it. After this, we're just gonna wait for the next gen. So, this is as high as we're gonna go in terms of the potential of the Switch, and for $350 and the quality of life improvements, I think it's going to be a good model. There's a lot of people complaining online, but I think the dust will settle, and many people are going to buy this. I know many Nintendo enthusiasts that are going to say, Nintendo, take my money. But there's a lot of people who are disappointed. They're also going to do the same thing, because they wanted the Switch Pro. They want to see Breath of the Wild in 4K. They want to see Metroid Prime 4 when it eventually comes out in 4K. They want solid resolution, 60 frames per second, stuff like that. So they improved the console, but not hardware wise. So it's basically the same Switch we all know and love, and those people who recently bought a Switch, it's not really too bad for them, because it's basically the same thing, which is quality of life improvements. And one last thing, looking over the design, it just the Joy-Cons have like a nice white color scheme. It looks really aesthetically pleasing in a minimalist house or living room or area. So, and it has like that new white dock with like the original dock is like a rectangle, but this new one has like curved edges, and it looks really nice, and it's gonna look really good in a entertainment center. So, I guess that's my thoughts on the new OLED model. Overall, my final thoughts, I know I've said that many times, but new things come up when I talk. So, overall, I think this Switch is pretty good. It's not the Switch Pro we were looking for, but the quality of life improvements definitely make this Switch nothing to scoff at. It has a lot of small quality of life features, and the new dock, the kickstand, audio, OLED screen. Yes, I totally forgot. The OLED screen. Colors are gonna, they had the PS Vita. The original PS Vita had the OLED screen, and the PS Vita Slim had like a LCD screen to make it cheaper. But let's move on from that. So this Switch, good Switch. Many people who do not have one or were waiting for Switch Pro, now's your time to jump on, because I don't think they're making another Switch after this one. And to those who just got a Switch, good for you. You didn't miss out on much. And I guess that's it for now. So, excited to see this Switch later in October. Oh yeah, I forgot to say that. It comes out October 8th of this year. So, looking forward to check out this OLED model. Maybe I'll have a look at it, maybe not, because it's just the standard Switch but upgraded. So it's going to be a good Switch. I hope it doesn't get scalped like the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, because that'll be pretty sad, but I'm pretty sure it will because of the supply issues a couple months ago. But yeah, I guess that's my thoughts on the new Switch OLED model. I know it sounded kind of redundant. I'm no professional, but I hope you enjoyed it nevertheless. So, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next video.